it's a little difficult having military parents, and I feel like unless you were a military kid, you kind of just don't understand.
Yeah, you don't understand it because you're like, your life was so cushioned.
And I'm like,
it was cushioned.
I mean, it was cool. It was definitely good,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But also, like, people think that if you're materially taken care of, that everything is fine. It's like, no.
Because they coming from a world. A lot of people who say that, I feel like, come from a world where they're like, sometimes like. We was on food stamps, so we didn't know.
We didn't have lights, like something like that.
I had shoes. People used to make fun of me like that. They attribute all that to like, if I'm materialistically taken care of, which is a valid point. Like, then
you need your basic needs met.
Right. Then my mind is at a different state.
Mm-hmm.
But yours was already at a state, and you had that. Like, we're not the same. But in actuality, we are the same.
We were in two different survival modes. See, people who need their material needs met, they're usually operating from survival because they're like, I didn't know where my next meal was coming from. A lot of people carry that with them even when they are materially good. Like, they just come from a survival mindset because, again, going back to trauma, if your brain is flooded with your, like, instinctual chemicals, it messes with the front of your brain, which I don't know if you know, like the prefrontal cortex, you know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So, fully develops usually around 25, 26.
Mm-hmm.
And that's responsible for like your decision making, your rational mind. So when you experience trauma specifically in childhood, it triggers and lights up the back of your brain. I forget what they call it. Your antique brain. The first part of your brain to develop, and you just stay in survival mode, and that really messes you up. It keeps you in a state that you can't really see past certain things. So I can see why people feel like, oh, if you're materially taken care of, you had your basic needs met. So what could really be an issue? I mean, parents say that too. Like, I provide for you. What could you be sad about? You should be happy.
Right.
This, that, and the third. It's like, that's not necessarily the case either.
That's not enough all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, it ain't enough as a parent for you to just provide. Like, it's already hard being a parent, but it's not enough for you to be like water, food, shelter. That's it. Like
what about my emotional needs? You're supposed to be making me a better person to go out into the world.
Right.
So you should be molding me or helping mold me into being a person that people want to actually deal with, because it's a lot of adults.
They don't want to deal with you.
It's a lot of children in adult bodies, I will say. People get stunted at whatever age.
Yeah.
And they continue to grow up, but they don't really grow up.